All right. Thank you for showing up today. Recording, great. Don't want to forget anything. So I just want to say welcome to you beautiful humans who are joining me here today. I am super touched that you took the time to join me. And this is intended to be a sacred space to reconnect with yourself, your desires, and your pleasure as tools for creating a life that you crave. So I would love it if you would first just take a moment to arrive fully into this now moment with me. So settle into your chair or wherever you're sitting. Take a breath. Allow yourself to let go of the outside world for about the next 60 minutes. And this is your time to explore yourself and your desires, to feel yourself more deeply, and to get a glimpse of what a turned on life might look like for you. Um, I'd like to start by setting an intention. My intention for this space is to share with you the formula for how a turned on life, how to live a turned on life, a life that is guided by your pleasure and your desires. And as we move through this journey together today, I want you to ask yourself, like, what do you want to receive today? And I'd love to know what your answers are, if you wouldn't mind sharing them in the comments. What do you want to receive out of this today? And there's no right or wrong answer. So, whatever arises for you is perfect. Open my chat window here so I can see. I really appreciate, people coming and spending time with me. And if there's a way I can make sure to get you what you're hoping to get out of it, then I will try for that. Put my notes up here. All right, and before we dive in, I will share a bit about myself and why I created this Life Turned On platform. So my name is Sharon Marie Scott, and I guide awakened, self-led humans to reclaim their desires, embody their full self-expression, and live a life that feels turned on every day, a life activated by presence, pleasure, and purpose. And my journey to get here wasn't linear. It was by no means easy, but it is one that I now see as sacred. I began as an illustrator and artist working with Walt Disney, went on to build a thriving career as a writer and creator in comic books, video games, film, and fiction. I married my best friend, raised two beautifully creative children, and traveled the world. And on the surface, I had everything. And yet inside, I carried this quiet ache for more. I longed for a deeper connection, not just to my work or my relationships, but a deeper connection to myself. And I spent years silencing that ache for more because I had more than most. So I kept telling myself that life was good enough. I hid my desires and even downplayed my success because I feared judgment and rejection. Looks like we have somebody else coming in. Welcome. I'm waiting for her sound to come in. And for those of you just joining, we're setting our intentions. So the question was, what would you like to receive out of today's presentation? All right. So I spent years silencing that ache for more because I had so much. And like so many other people, I was afraid of judgment and rejection. I thought the answer was in fixing myself. So I spiraled into decades of shadow work. I was convinced that I had to solve the problem of wanting more. But what I eventually realized was that my desires weren't the problem, they were the compass. And that the ache for more wasn't selfish or broken, it was sacred. So when I stopped silencing my desires and started saying fuck yes to myself, my life turned on. I stopped living small. I stepped into my full expression, which for me is sex positive queerness, kink, polyamorous, and I embraced my desires not as flaws, but as guides. And that's when I understood that the pursuit of a turned on life isn't selfish. It's the key to living aligned with my divine identity, fully expressed and free. So now, through my Life Turned On platform, I help others reclaim their divine right to pleasure and sovereignty and guide them to create a life activated by desire, devotion, and spiritual mastery. So for me, the desire for more isn't just a longing, it's a map. And following the map of your desires is what turns life on. So, what is a life turned on? What does that look like? Oh, you know what? I want to go to the comments. We have one here. One of the intentions for today, inspiration to focus myself, on what creates a stronger foundation for manifestation and pleasure. Yeah, we will definitely be covering that today. Like you are going to get some spiritual hacks today on how to be more efficient with your manifestation and more precise in the way that it comes to you. So Life Turned On is more than a teaching to me. It's a lifestyle. It's a practice. Oh, I love it. It's December 11th and 1:11 on the clock right now. That's cool. So when you live a turned on life, pleasure becomes power. Your desires lead the way, and every moment feels sacred and alive. So this is the kind of energy that we're stepping into today. So I'd like to take a moment to get us grounded while we're together. So if it feels good to you, I encourage you to take a breath in. And as you exhale, to let your body soften. Close your eyes if that feels right. And then ask yourself, in this moment, how can I make this moment more pleasurable? Might be adjusting how you're sitting or laying down. It might be placing a hand on your heart or just noticing how the air brushes your skin. I love goosebumps. Some of you might know this, but so for me, I love to bring more pleasure to myself by literally like just touching my arm and bringing more goosebumps to myself. That's very pleasurable to me. Let your thoughts melt away as you settle into the sensations of this moment. Take another breath. And as you exhale, feel yourself coming fully present into your body. And I encourage you to let this be your first step into living a turned on life. So the next thing I'm going to talk about with you is a brand new concept that came to me in the last several weeks. And it's piggybacked on another concept that I'll explain. So it's called the Divine Primal. So like so many of you, I'm sure my spiritual journey this year has been super intense. I didn't run away from it. In fact, I dug in to the inner work. And because of the focused dedication and devotion I gave to myself and my spiritual journey, I began receiving downloads, which included memories of past lives as a sexual oracle and of these ancient practices of how to essentially hack or speed up the spiritual ascension journey and manifestation. So I've started to redefine and expand on some, traditional spiritual concepts. And the most expansive of those that I've been playing with is a concept that I've coined the Divine Primal. And it started with what I called the primal feminine, which was about transcending the idea of the light and dark feminine. So there's the divine feminine, and then within the divine feminine, that tends to be broken up into the light and dark feminine. So you'll see a lot of people talk about, using the dark feminine, as a powerful way to embody your life or to manifest. So I was looking for something that transcended this idea of light and dark because I feel like I'm either on the cusp or I have transcended. this idea of this compartmentalized pieces of myself as my feminine. And of course, I have an inner masculine as well. So that's I was chewing on this idea of like I feel like I've transcended this idea of light and dark. I've dived into my shadows. I've dived into the kink community for so many years, and I don't judge it as good or bad anymore. It's just such a part of me. But I also didn't want this sense of these pieces being compartmentalized anymore. I really was like, there's got to be something beyond, you know, that framework. And so I started my asking myself, well, is there something more beyond the masculine and feminine archetypes altogether? So, what is like this raw, unconditioned source of all of these forces that we recognize in ourselves, masculine, feminine? And so the divine primal came to me. So, the divine primal is not light, it's not dark, it's not masculine, it's not feminine. And I'm still finding the language for this myself. But for me, the divine primal energy is arousal. It's the excitement over anticipating what happens next in your life or in the next moment. It's the raw creation energy that flows through all of us. This energy of, I want like that. That's the divine primal. That's our God essence. It's what makes us magnetic and powerful. And we live in this three-dimensional reality that, is sort of contingent on this polarity, but this raw primal energy is something that transcends that polarity altogether. It's not a merging, it's not balancing, it's bigger than that. It's a complete alchemy, like two colors of paint that, when mixed, create a fresh color. And that color is a new infinite essence that holds the essence of both, but isn't limited or bound by those original colors. So it's something more. And when you embody this transcended state of the divine primal, you begin to live beyond polarity and duality and to see life through the lens of wholeness. And there are several things that happen, or at least that's been happening for me as I move into this new essence. One is your perception shifts. You stop labeling experiences as good or bad, masculine or feminine, and instead you see the interconnected whole. Challenges in life no longer feel like obstacles, they become sacred opportunities for growth. You have access to limitless creation energy. So, without the limitations of polarity, you draw from an infinite well of creative power. Your actions and your desires flow effortlessly because they're no longer divided or compartmentalized, they're just one larger whole. And third, you master your reality. The divine primal doesn't react to life, it creates the life ahead of you. And living from this space allows you to move through the world with clarity, purpose, and potency. So the divine primal is a way of being. It's a return to your raw, unfiltered essence. And when you embody it, you stop seeing yourself as fragmented and instead know yourself as complete and as the creator. I'm going to take a look at the intentions. Here's one: curiosity, exploring my gene key of attraction 30, line 5 of sensuality, and to desire lightness, rapture. Shadow, gift, higher essence. Ooh, sexy words. My sexuality and sensuality has been a challenge to me. Catholicism? Question marks. I love it. And then another one: your description of the divine primal is terrific. A spirit existing before language and its limitations. Yeah, thank you for that. And again, like, it's going to be exciting to continue to develop the concept, in the coming years. But I think that I wrote an article recently about applying the primal feminine to the archetypes of the mother, maiden, crone, which was really exciting. Like, the result was really exciting to me, and I think that's probably what spurred this divine primal, because I don't want to get too far away from my from my usual like inclusivity when it comes to gender and sexual orientation and stuff. So I was feeling a little boxed in by only focusing on the primal feminine, as opposed to something that was broader than just the feminine. And so this dropped in, a couple of weeks ago during a meditation, and I was like, this is it. This is the one. And my writing I've been really creatively inspired yesterday. So thank you. Gosh, these are exciting things. I don't exactly know what attraction 30 line 5 means, of course, but certainly the words sensuality, desire, rapture, sexy. And then shadow, gift, higher essence. Yeah, because the shadow is full of gifts and full of higher essence. All right. So the next piece of this is I want to walk you through like a little activation for your own divine primal essence. So again, if you're willing, close your eyes and begin to breathe deeply into your belly. Maybe you place your hands there. And as you breathe, you can feel the rise and fall of your breath in your belly. And with each inhale, I want you to imagine drawing energy from the earth beneath you. Raw, pulsing, alive earth energy. This is similar to the energy of the wild, untamed divine primal that lives within you. So breathe that in. And with each exhale, release any tension, any resistance, any social expectations that are keeping you from truly owning the life you want. And now take a moment to think of something you really hunger for, something you're craving. Maybe it's a new job, maybe some hot bedroom experience, maybe it's a vacation or a long spa weekend of great food and pampering yourself. Could even just be a great meal. So let the image of that thing you really crave come up for you in your mind and in your body. What I'm looking for is for you to really let your body and mind open to the desire of the thing. Not from a place of lack or looking to the future, but choosing to be present right here in this now moment, tuning into the pure, raw desire of, that thing is delicious and I want it. Imagine it, fantasize about it, taste it, like right now. Can you feel the want of it? That's what I'm hoping for. I want you to be able to feel the pulse of energy, the actual physical vibration that's created in the wanting of it, because it's in your body. Your body is speaking to you right now. As you bring this image up, it might be a vibration, it might be a warmth, it might be a tingle or a swirling feel. I'm getting warm. I can feel a vibration. And for me, there's almost this sense of like, I often have this with desire, and I feel a sense of momentum. Like my body actually wants to move a little bit forward. I'm actually having to hold it back from leaning forward. So, whatever sensations you're having, like open up to those sensations even more and let whatever those sensations are expand to every cell of your body. And now, in the quiet space of your muted room, I want you to let out some sort of sound. It doesn't matter whether it's soft or loud, but whatever sound feels like the expression of that craving or the expression of that desire. It could be a sigh or a moan or a growl or a laugh. So I'm going to give you mine today. Here's mine. Oh, that's the sound of my desire today. So this entire thing, this imagery, the body sensations, the sound I just made, like that's my divine primal. So whatever you're experiencing, that's your divine primal. There's a feeling of limitlessness, it's sort of an untamed quality. That's your divine primal. So just breathe that in for another moment. Stay here. And take the mind-body snapshot of what this feels like. Like in this sort of aroused state, imagine what it would be like to live every day, led by this kind of like delicious, longing energy, divine primal energy. And then when you're ready, open your eyes and join me again. Hopefully, you found that really delicious. I did. I do. And if you want to share, yum, I got a yum. Yes, thank you, Karen. If anybody else wants to share how that felt to them, I would love to hear it. And we're going to talk about arousal and self-devotion next, which, if you've been following me online at all, is, a key component of my Life Turned On platform. So we know that desire elicits arousal because that's what you just experienced. So now let's talk about arousal because kind of the next step. I got a comment here. Glenn, wonderful. Expanding the chest beyond just the deep breathing, like being filled. Yeah, like being filled. It's a great description. Imagine like if life could be like that all the time, you feeling that kind of filled and excited. And then from that place, you make decisions for your life and you move forward in your life. And we'll talk about how the mechanics of that work for manifestation, but that you are right on it. So we know that desire elicits arousal. That's what we just experienced. So now we're going to talk about arousal. So not just as like the way that people tend to talk about arousal, which is in a sexual sense, but as a much broader, more powerful state of being. Arousal is your body's way of saying, I'm alive, I'm ready, I'm aligned. It's a feeling of being switched on or activated and fully engaged with life. You might have felt it in other times in your life, but either way, I know you felt it before because when you're deeply immersed in something that you love, when inspiration strikes, when your senses are heightened in the simple moments like savoring your favorite food, then you've experienced arousal. And the state of arousal for me is a portal. It's a gateway to a turned on life because it shifts my energy into alignment with my desires. And when I'm in this activated state, I vibrate at a higher frequency, which naturally draws aligned opportunities, people, and outcomes to me. Like that is the law of attraction, and that is sort of the first part of the conversation that we're going to have about manifestation. So the key is that arousal isn't something that you just wait for. It's something that you can cultivate every day in your life. And it's one of the most effective ways to cultivate arousal, or one of the most effective ways to cultivate arousal is through self-devotion. So self-devotion is the practice of showing reverence for yourself, for your desires, for your pleasure. It's about creating small sacred moments throughout your day where you consciously choose to honor yourself. These acts of devotion, like pausing to savor your coffee or lighting a candle as you work or placing your hands on your body in gratitude. Those are all examples of how you can help to recalibrate your energy and activate your arousal. And when you pair arousal with self-devotion, you create a powerful feedback loop. Each small act of care amplifies your aliveness, which deepens your connection to your desires and then further aligns you with your turned on life. So I invite you to answer this question for yourself. What small act of devotion can you choose today to amplify your own sense of aliveness? It might be something simple like adding an extra moment of pleasure to your routine, a warm bath, a stretch. For me, touching my arm. Maybe it's holding your own gaze in the mirror and saying, like, I see you and you're worthy of your desires. When you commit to acts of self-devotion, you aren't just taking care of yourself, you're cultivating the energy of your next level self. You're saying yes to your own aliveness, yes to your pleasure, and yes to the life you're creating. So I'd love to hear, of course, how you responded to the question. What act of self-devotion might you adopt for yourself? And mine, of course, includes this incredible routine I do more than once a week. I have what I call a goddess night every week, and I have what's called an oracle night every week. So my goddess night is about pampering, self-pampering. I make my favorite food or I go get it or and I will maybe take a bath. I'll rub my body down with certain kinds of oils. I might massage my feet. I might go get a massage. It's all about, pampering, but it's also about being present in the pampering, being present in the actual acts of self-devotion and receiving them as devotion. And then my oracle nights are nights where, and I have a program coming up next year called the Wild Oracle, where this becomes the focus. But the Wild Oracle is all about um, these practices of self-devotion. And for me, it means freeing up the evening, getting into some sort of altered state, which can include breath work. It can be ecstatic dance. You can do it through psychedelics or other less potent uh, medicines. You can do it through self-pleasuring. And I use like any and all of those states, on any given night for my Oracle night. And what happens during an Oracle night is that these downloads, like these downloads that I'm mentioning, come to me. It's when I'm in an altered state that I'm in a state to receive channeled messages to myself or things like memories of past lives. So I want to extend that idea a little further and now talk about pleasure. Oh, I got some comments. I love it when I get comments. Eating chocolate every day. Yeah, I love that. And when you go to eat the chocolate, the the best way to do that is to be super focused on how you're honoring yourself by having that chocolate and that this chocolate is super sacred for you and then eat it with reverence and eat it with joy. That sounds like a great moment. You're reminding me. I like chocolate. I love it. All right, got another one. Sitting in the hot tub this evening in a way that feels like self-care. Absolutely. I love the second part because you can just sit in the hot tub. Like plenty of people are like, oh, I go get the pedicures, I go get the massages, but they're not coupling that with their presence. They're not coupling that with the intentional and conscious, like being with the self and receiving that act as something meant to be nourishing. And so in a way that feels like self-care, like that's the real key, nourishing. And then another one, allowing myself to stop taking at least a couple moments of the day to set aside whatever's next and just be. Maybe stretch and close my eyes and let myself be blank. Oh, wow. What a great place to start. And I like the language in this because sometimes it is a start that sometimes the start is about stopping yourself from doing what you would generally do or just interrupting the pattern and certainly like mindfulness and creating moments of presence for yourself sounds like a really great place to start. These are all great answers. Thank you for passing them on. All right, pleasure. So pleasure as creation energy. So we talked about desire, we talked about arousal, and now we're going like one step further into pleasure. Pleasure as creation energy. So this one's really key to the downloads that I got about being a sexual oracle. And these are honestly like these ancient practices that are starting to, that have been coming to me that I've been taking notes on. So my favorite topic, pleasure as creation energy. Pleasure takes the experiences that we've had in like the last 30 minutes and magnifies them. And just like the physical sensations that you experienced when we did that desire exercise, pleasure is also a force that we are meant to harness. So when you experience pleasure or joy or bliss or ecstasy, I kind of wrap all of those up into pleasure, your frequency rises. And the higher your frequency, the more you align with the energy of abundance and manifestation becomes effortless. So this is where we're making the crossover from desire, arousal, pleasure into faster and more precise manifestation. So the intentional aligning with what feels good in order to raise your frequency and activate your primal creation energy is what I call the pleasure code. So the pleasure code, that's another new. I'm introducing all these terms now. So typical manifestation methods rely on things like affirmations and effort and willpower. And that's a way to get there, but it's longer and it's harder. So the pleasure code works from a place of vibrational alignment. That's why it's so fast. That's why it's so precise. So the pleasure code is about trusting your body, trusting your desires, and trusting your intuition to guide you. So I have another question for you. What is one area of your life where you could invite more pleasure? It might be like your love life, it could be your work, it could be your exercise routine. So, what area of your life could you invite more pleasure? And what would shift if you allowed more pleasure into that space? What would shift? I'm even thinking for myself right now. Because I obviously my whole life is sort of centered around pleasure. So I'm like, where could I invite even more pleasure? Maybe on my commutes. I can invite more pleasure into my commutes. So I could maybe not do so much work in the car. I have a tendency to listen to audiobooks that are sort of like more about personal work. And while I enjoy that, I could probably put on, listen to something that's not that. That would bring me more pleasure while I'm on the road. I'm just going to wait for a few more minutes to see if anybody wants to respond. And then we're going to go into a guided visualization. Mm. Karen, I want to bring more pleasure into my relationship with money. Ooh, it's so juicy. I want to feel excited and trusting and creative in it. Yeah. Something that I've learned in my own journey this year, more than at any other time, is that the the relationship struggles I have in real life, like in my real life relationships, especially in particular my romantic and sexual relationships, like whatever struggles I have there, let's say like I know myself in the history of my relationships to have been an anxiously attached partner. And what I learned this year is that that also applies to money, that everything that I deal with in relationship, in romantic and sexual relationship, that is also the struggles I'm having with money. And so, for anxious attachment to money, that means like it's not so much that I have trouble calling in money, but I'm always worried that I'm going to lose it. And I'm always constantly insecure about whether I'm going to have enough or whether it's going to go away altogether, which mimics the anxious attachment struggles that I have had in relationships over the years. So just something to chew on. Another one, let's see. Glenn, allowing more sensuous moments throughout the day, standing under the shower or self-massage, similar to the breaks I mentioned above. Oh, yeah. I love this. Sensual moments throughout the day. I cannot stress that that's going to change your life. That's going to change your day completely. Like when you go to get back to your work, you're going to come from a completely different vibration. That's a really great suggestion. And I see some people agreeing with me about the anxious attachment of money. Yes, I have the same money anxieties, right? So I'd be curious if, at some point if you guys want to share, but like I'd be curious if whether you see that also reflected sometimes in your relationships, do you have the same anxieties in your relationships? Anyway, it was a big powerful light bulb for me. And thank you for all your shares here. All right. Any questions so far? Because I'm throwing out a lot of new terms and they're kind of big ideas. And so this is the first time I've gotten a chance to present them, and I want to make sure I'm not losing you mm, or barreling over these concepts too quickly. So let me know. Ah, let's see. From half-heartedness, not focused, to commitment, to devotion. Oh, commitment to devotion. I like your language here, commitment to devotion, because sometimes we want to be willing to make a change in our lives, but our subconscious programming is actually not willing. And so sometimes the first step to being willing, this is a Louise Hay thing, it's to be willing to be willing. And in one of her books, there's a mantra about I'm willing to be willing to, and then dot, 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 however you would fill in the blank. So I like this language to commitment to devotion. You want to be devoted. Maybe you're not sure how to do that yet, or you're not even sure that, like the word deserve is coming up for me. Like I certainly battled my own deservedness when it came to self-devotion. All right, I don't see any questions so far, but feel free to throw them in there if you have them. But I'm excited at the idea that I might be explaining them well enough that you're following along. And then we're going to do a guided visualization. I really like to bring all of these concepts all together, and so that you can have more of the embodied experience of what a turned on life might look like, or how you would feel about yourself when you are embodying a turned on life. I'm being very clear. Keep going. Your teaching rocks. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for the support. That's really gratifying to hear. All right. So guided visualization. We're going to do one more, and this is to connect you to your vision of a turned on life. So I invite you once more to close your eyes. And I want you to bring up an image of yourself at the peak of what you imagine your most radiant, turned on life to be. And as my words reach your ears, I just want you to let whatever the first natural image present itself to you. You might be vacationing. You might be with a partner or your family. You might be working because you're so turned on by your calling that it doesn't feel like work at all. That's my life. So let whatever images start to form for you. Your most radiant, turned on life. And as you move through this day, this turned on day, notice how it feels to wake up fully alive. I want you to see yourself walking through a day that feels effortless. You feel aroused by life, aligned with your desires, performing acts of self-devotion. You see yourself following what brings you pleasure and radiating abundance and love and success. You speak your truth without hesitation, and you take action from a place of deep alignment. Visualize the people that'll be in your life, your relationships, your connections. Notice how they respond to you when you embody this divine primal energy. They see your radiance, they see your confidence, your magnetism. Now see the opportunities flowing to you. Wealth, love, success, health, all aligning effortlessly because you're vibrating at the frequency of what you desire. You're vibrating at frequencies of joy and bliss. Feel what it feels like to have the ease of this kind of vibrational alignment, knowing that everything you desire is meant for you. And then again, turn your attention more inward. Feel that pulsing energy of the divine primal, of the desire within you. A little wild, a little raw. This is your essence. The part of you that is limitless and unstoppable. Feel what it's like to move through the world as the primal creator of your reality. Visualize this energy radiating from your core in waves of light and filling every cell of your body. Expansive, powerful, so alive. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, I invite you to anchor this vision into your body. Take the snapshot. Know that this energy, this alignment is already within you. You don't have to reach for it. It's already part of who you are. And breathe yourself in one more time. And when you're ready, you can wiggle your fingers and toes. Bring your awareness back to the room. And when it feels right, feel free to rejoin me here. Welcome back to this moment. I'd love to hear, what that was like for you. Did you have a clear vision? I'd love to know some of the details if you did. Did you and did you have an insight? Are there any insights that you gained? Did something surprise you? Did something get really exciting? I'd love to know. And while you guys, to give you a little more time to respond to that, I'll start to share with you some of the upcoming programs that I have coming up starting in January, because I'm really excited about them. And it's really like nothing I've ever done before. And the first one is coming up on January 6th, and it's a 7-day accelerator. And it's on a Telegram group, so it's all audio. And the reason I am really attracted to doing Telegram and all audio for this 7-day accelerator is because I think that the mind can get in the way sometimes when we're watching people on video. And by sticking to audio only, you have to engage in the experience differently. You have to engage with more of your body. And so, this presentation I'm giving today, and certainly every day of those 7 days, they're coded with transmissions, with energetic transmissions. And so by listening only and not having the mind, interrupting the process, you're going to receive the information differently and you're going to upgrade faster. So it's called the Say Fuck Yes 7-Day Accelerator. And it's all about sort of the shortcuts to stepping into your next level self. It'll be about 15, it might take you by 15 to 20 minutes a day of engaging with it between my presentation and like the practices and exercises that I'll offer you during those 7 days. And then at the end on day 7, there'll be a really powerful activation. And so that 7-day program, I'm giving an early discounted price for people that join this workshop, which is $99 for those 7 days. And I will drop in some codes here too, or drop in the links as I talk about them. Let's see. We'll do this one first. And then I can see. All right, somebody's sharing. All right. Somebody got a very clear vision of being among fellow writers and readers, feeling generous and in the zone creatively. Yeah. Excited about the work I've created and especially what's being offered. Yeah. I get that. I know what that feeling's like. I once was a writer. For those of you that don't know, once was a professional writer. And I've been on panels. I remember being nervous and excited about those things. But yeah, I can see that. Like just having total that's what I'm reading is just having total confidence and having all of the creativity be easeful and in flow. That sounds really sexy. And another one, Karen, the same sensation I had during the desire pause was present. Then it was almost obliterated by the growing glow of my core. Ooh, exciting. My view of my turned on life was very specific, joyful work related. Yeah. Yeah. That's because you're embarking on this new, I happen to know that you're embarking on this new creative profession and it's aligned with, the essence of who you are. So yeah, you have every reason to be excited about it. And I think every bit of enthusiasm and that juiciness, that juicy excitement the growing glow of your core. I think that the more that you bring to it, the more you're going to get back, the more it's going to become that feedback loop of feeling turned on and activated every day. Glenn says yes to the confidence, and he reminds me, and you are still very much a writer. Your newsletters are inspiring. Thank you. It's been really fun to feel so prolific again. I mean, I was probably never that prolific, so it's the first time I'm feeling prolific. So thank you for that. I'm really excited about the new writings too. All right, let's see the second one I want to tell you about. So say fuck yes, 7-day accelerator. And then the second one is what I'm calling the Pleasure as Power Masterclass. This will be in late January, and it's just it's a live deep dive into manifesting with pleasure. So we'll take some of the concepts that we've talked about today, desire, arousal, pleasure, but we'll go deeper into how that works or why it works, and with some fun exercises and stuff for you guys to take home and play with, with your own manifestations. So that one's called Pleasure as Power Masterclass. And again, offering early discounts for people who are attending these presentations. That one is currently at 111, and it'll go up to like 144 or something like that by the time that masterclass comes around in January. And then lastly is the Wild Oracle group program that I mentioned earlier, which is I'm only going to take 8 people in it, and it's going to focus on mastering manifestation through ecstatic states, erotic, the vibration of eroticism, and your intuition. So like if you're not that in touch with your intuition yet, it might be a little bit more challenging for you to be participate in the group program. But if you have some sort of like if you understand that you have some intuition and you're willing to explore, this could be a really fun program to participate in. So we're combining our intuitive skills with erotic states and ecstatic states. And sometimes erotic states can be ecstatic states, but you can also have, excuse me, you can also create ecstatic states with no arousal or pleasure at all. But if you do, again, it's amplifying, and there's a synergistic effect that happens when you include your turned on energy along with the ecstatic states, and then of course your intuition. So the Wild Oracle group program, and again, there's an early bird price here for that. Okay, another share. Let's see here on their Turned On Life. I've experienced these experiences before, really radiant and feeling aliveness in my body, full of light, love to give and receive. And when folk interact, are so helpful and everything is easy. Yeah. I was missing a key to get here quicker, and this workshop has provided the key. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, fantastic. So you were just missing a little piece. Yeah, I get it. And another, this is the kind of thing that I'll be doing in the Wild Oracle program more than anything else. But like another great way to think of that is, um, that person that lives that particular turned on life, how does she wake up in the morning? How does he have his coffee? What do they have for breakfast? How do they think? How do they celebrate the holidays? To really start embodying that next level identity, you have to like literally get into the mind, body, spirit of who that person is. And that's the heart of like the work that I'm going to be doing, for the foreseeable future. It's how to help people crash through these ceilings that they've hit on money, on success, on life in general, and how to embody their next level selves. And then again, if there's any questions, feel free to drop them. And the last link I want to share with you is the link to my new free Telegram group, which is, eventually it's going to replace the current Woo Underground Facebook group, because more and more, there just is more and more censoring going on. If you saw my recent newsletters, I did a series called Reclaiming Our Sensual Vernacular, which was about the fact of, that's the active censorship that's happening on these major platforms. And, we can't use words like erotic, or our profiles get flagged. We can't use words like arousal. We can't use words like sensuality. We can't use words sex or sexual. And even, even things like gender identities and things are starting to like, so the allowances are getting smaller and narrower, and it's really frustrating because for me, as a person who loves words and a person who lives a lifestyle that is all about like the senses and sensuality and, tasting words and, feeling food and, I feel like that what's happening is that by taking away these words from us, they're actually starting to limit our physical experience, our sensate experience of life. And it's just like, it's literally the opposite of the life I want to live. Uh, so series of articles, and it's also driven me to create a free group on Telegram where I can drop my thoughts in randomly there, and we're not going to have that same level of censorship, and we can talk about dirtier things and kinkier things and all the beautiful things that make life worth living. Censored oppression. Yep. And it's happening like, and nobody seems to care. Like, I can't be the only person talking about it, but sometimes I feel like I am. So, so that's it. That's my presentation for my new platform, Life Turned On. Do you have any more questions that you want to share with me, or any questions about the programs that I'm putting up? You're welcome to message me here. Most of you know how to find me on Facebook. You can certainly email me, Sharon@SharonMurrayScott.com. Wonderful. This was wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for showing up for me. I think you all know how super meaningful that is to me, and how genuine my regard is for you all and for the time spent and shared space. So I'm just going to wait to see if there's a few more minutes here. And I did it under 60 minutes. Go me. All right. It's looking like we're good here. I want to thank you all again. Oh, yep, this was wonderful. Yep, thank you so much. I love how you present these concepts so simple, so earful to hear, or earful to feel. Oh, I like it. I like your like combining the senses there. Simple, so earful to feel. Ooh, all right. So I want to thank you all again for being here, and I'll see you again sometime. Thank you all so much.